What's going on, you guys? It's jcmentalz back again, cooking up in the studio. This week I ended up using a loop from Cymatics. They're actually in the process of running a contest. It's called King of Beats, I believe. I will have a link in the description for those of you who are interested in checking it out. Especially all my producer friends. This is actually really cool. They're offering like $2,000 as well as a bunch of equipment and all that good stuff. So, you know, all of us can always use more equipment. So producers, if you have loops, send them to me. I'll be more than happy to use them and credit you for them in my videos. Also, I am trying to get up to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, so if you like the content, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. Also, turn on the notifications so that way you can see when I'm dropping videos. Also, I have a couple loop packs out myself, so if you are a producer and you're interested in those loop packs, I'll have my email in the description. Feel free to email me. So I'm only charging like 10 bucks for them. There's 11 different loops in each pack, so definitely worth the value. Alright man, so I'm done talking. I'm just going to jump into FL Studio, show you what I got for you this week. Let's go. So I went ahead and made the whole beat this time instead of making it as I was filming it. And the reason why I did that is because the video, if you watched it last week, was like 16 minutes or something like that. And it was way too long. So I'm going to try it this way and just break down how I made everything. If you like this way better, let me know in the comments. Or if you like the other way better where I make it and record it all at the same time, let me know that too as well. And depending on, you know, what everybody likes the most, I will go ahead and, cook up that way. So let me go ahead and get into how I made this week's beat. So as I said, I started out with a loop, and this is the loop I started out with. So the next instrument that I added was a flute, and I put it on the hook, so that way you could differentiate which part of the song was coming in and out. So obviously the hook has everything. As you can tell, this would be the hook. And then I come into the verse here, second part of the verse, back into the hook. And then it just copies over again. And then like I have a little outro piece or a little bridge piece and then the outro. So real simple, nothing elaborate as far as the structure is concerned. So yeah, hopefully it helps you out with your production. Anyways, this is the loop and the flute together. So then I added, let me see, I believe I added the clap and the hi-hat next. So I think this is both of these. Are actually right here. I can't tell what I got here. Okay, yeah. So the clap and the hi-hat. I actually have two different hi-hats. Well, it's the same hi-hat, but I have two different channels, and you'll see why here in just a second. But let's start with this one. And this is the clap and the first hi-hat together, plus the loop and the flute. So then I added the second hi-hat as well as two open hi-hats as well. And this is everything together. So the next things I added were a kick drum and a bass. And this is with the kick drum and the bass added to the loop and the flute and the other percussion elements. so moving on, I ended up adding 2 more percussion elements, as well as this little riser and my tag as well. So without the tag and the riser, just all the percussion and the loop and the flute, this is what I have. So to jump into a little bit of what I've done for everything as far as the mixing is concerned, it's real basic. I don't ever do anything like real crazy unless it needs it, or if I'm trying to achieve a certain sound. Really, it's more so just making sure everything glues together and there's room for everything. So for the loop, it had a really heavy bass line in it. So I wanted to make sure that there was plenty of room for the 808. So I just added an EQ and took out that low end. And that's all I did for the loop. Same with the flute. I just took out the low end as well. Nothing elaborate whatsoever. So with the 808, what I like to do to make sure that the 808 is hitting like nothing. All right, so
Today, Junior.
And I think I've explained this before, but the reason why I put a limiter on the 808 is not to, make it quieter. It's to make sure that all the notes are hitting at the same volume, because as you go up the scale, some of the notes will be higher in volume than some of the others. So to make sure that everything is, universal, I just put a limiter on it, and I find the lowest note of the 808, and I'll just put the ceiling there, and this is kind of what that looks like. So also what I like to do with the 808 and the kick is if you produce and you've been producing for a while, or even if you're new and you've read some information about production, the 808 and the kick share a lot of the same frequency ranges, so it's hard to get those to mesh together sometimes. The first thing you can do to try to help that is find an 808 and a kick that complement each other. Also, another thing you can do, which is what I like to do, is add a peak controller to the, I add a peak controller to the kick, and then I sidechain the 808 over to the kick. And then I'll tell the 808, I'll just link it to the controller here. The bass controls the volume. The volume will actually duck every time the kick hits, and then the DK will tell the 808 when to, get out of the way, how fast to get out of the way and come back, basically. So this is what that looks like. So yeah, man, as you can tell, visually, you can see that it's ducking here. And that's all I wanted to do. It's just ducking the volume, so that way when the kick hits, there's enough room for the kick, and then the 808 comes right back after the kick gets out of the way. That way those frequencies aren't clashing, sounds clean. And then for the rest of this stuff, I just ducked out the low frequency. I didn't want to do too much, and then I just did a little panning too as well. Changed the stereo imaging to mono for the kick and the 808. Open the stereo image a little bit for the loop. That way the percussion elements kind of have a little room to sit in the mix. And then finally, for the master, what I like to do is I start out with a fruity limiter. I just make sure that it's not going to blow my speakers out. And I just have it set to -3. It's just like a brick wall limiter. But after I finish and I'm ready to actually, put some stuff on my master. I use a multi-band compressor, and then I use Ozone 8. I use the mastering assistant. However, I'll go in and kind of tweak things to my liking. So yeah, that's it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up or ask in the comments. Like I said, I have several loop packs for the producers out there who are looking to get some loops, trying to get up to 1,000 subscribers, guys. So if you like the content, make sure that you subscribe. It's always appreciated. And then also turn on those notifications. That way you guys see when I drop videos. So until next time, guys, I'm out of here. If you don't know what it is, you should definitely find out. It's jcmentalz. Peace until next time.
jcmentalz.